Kazangpla and welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. First headlines. His Majesty confers the Drakpoe Kholo Medal to Chuma Kinzang Doji and the National Order of Merit Silver to 2 excavator operatives. Technical and vocational education and training graduates in the country face difficulty in getting relevant jobs. And sighting of 6 new tigers raise conservation hopes. Well, now the details. His Majesty the King conferred the Drakpoe Kholo Medal to Chuma Kinzang Doji of the Royal Bhutan Army and the National Order of Merit Silver to Anjan Rai and Tashi Wangchuk, both of whom are excavator operators. The Drakpoe Kholo Medal is awarded to military personnel and recognizes heroism and bravery in service of the Saosum.
Chuma Kinzang Doji, along with 4 of his fellow soldiers, helped rescue 5 people who were stranded in the flash flood of Mauchu on Monday night. He was the only member of the rescue team who survived. His Majesty granted an audience to the families of the 4 soldiers who lost their lives during the rescue operation. The families received the Drakpoe Kholo Medal on behalf of the deceased. His Majesty conferred the medals posthumously to the 4 soldiers, Peljep Ugen, Gopapemawangdi, Chuma Duptsiring and Chuma Tandin Doji, for their extraordinary courage and their supreme sacrifice in the line of duty. This morning in Galifu, His Majesty granted an audience to all excavator operators involved in the rescue operations and thanked them for their service. The recipients of the National Order of Merit Anjan Rai was part of the operation to rescue 5 people from the Mauchu water treatment plant, and Tashi Wangchuk helped in rescue of 4 forestry officials and the caretaker of Mauchu water treatment plant. Both individuals displayed great courage and played an important part in saving the lives of the people who were rescued. The National Order of Merit recognizes outstanding civilian contributions to the Saosum. Pupkiem for BBS News.
Referring patients outside the country has become difficult, especially after the outbreak of COVID-19 in India. Records with the Jigme Doji Wangchuk National Referral Hospital in Thimphu show that during the last 4 months, there has been only 1 referral.
Most Bhutanese patients are referred to India for further medical treatment. Majority of the cases are cancer or heart-related. In a normal situation, around 60 patients are referred outside the country in a month. The medical superintendent of the National Referral Hospital said they have not been able to refer patients due to lockdown measures in India.
For the past 4 months now, April to July, we have been able to send only 1 patient out for treatment who required urgent treatment, and the other cases who could wait, we are still holding them in Bhutan so that we could send once the situation improves in India.
At the moment, the hospital is in the process of trying to send a group of patients requiring further treatment following medical interventions provided in the country. The group also consists of patients for whom the treatments are not available here.
We have around 25 patients we have discussed with Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also with the Ministry of Health and Indian Embassy. And we are asking permission from Delhi. So if this comes through, those urgently waiting, that group we will send. Once we get the permission, we will send them by flight, because we have some patients who have completed treatment in Calcutta and they want to come back.
While the pandemic is making patients' referrals difficult, it provided an opportunity for the health sector to evolve and start treating some cases within the country.
The patients with very irregular heart rate, they usually require a pacemaker to be implanted. So one of our doctors who were undergoing his cardiology training in Thailand had come back, and he was able to implant the pacemaker. So we have treated 2 patients which we used to send outside for treatment. Then the other thing is also now we have around 3 doctors who are trained in ERCP.
He added the hospital will continue with the treatments necessitated by the pandemic post-COVID-19 situation. Only complicated cases that are not treatable in the country will be referred outside. Kilidem for BBS News.
A BBS investigation has revealed that equipment worth millions the Film Association of Bhutan procured through KOICA grant are missing. The Information and Communications Ministry, in collaboration with KOICA, granted almost 7 million ngutum in 2015 to the association for purchase of film screening equipment. Through this grant, the association procured 120 speakers, 60 amplifiers, 60 projectors, 60 Blu-ray players, cables and specons.
A joint verification of the equipment was conducted in June 2015 by the Ministry and the Film Association of Bhutan, during which all equipment were physically verified. However, when BBS approached the association officials, the office was not able to provide any information regarding the equipment. The acting president, Ngirabduji, said that the current board of trustees did not receive the equipment from the former board members. But BBS was able to trace 20 sets of the film screening equipment with Tanduwanchu, the manager of Bhutan Film Distributors. Tanduwanchu said in July 2015, 60 sets of screening equipment were given to their company by the association through a hire purchase system. However, the company returned 40 sets in 2017 after they were unable to pay the hire charges. The annual audit report in 2017 confirms this. Tanduwanchu said, keeping 20 sets under a new contract signed between him and the former executive director Yoshidoji, he had made a presentation to the new board of association in 2017 for further collaboration. However, no officials from FAB had contacted him since. BBS was not able to contact the former ED Yoshidoji. The recent relieved executive director Ngaung Tobge said a few pieces of equipment were in the FAB office. Mila Tobge, who was the president of the association until August 2017, said he handed over the 40 sets of screening equipment to the new board of trustees. He said that the audit report 2017 shows that assets worth 13 million ngutum were found lying idle in the FAB office, which, according to the Milatopke, includes the 40 sets of KOICA grant equipment. Sources say the book of accounts and inventory for the equipment is also missing. Singishizom for BBS News.
Since 2013, more number of technical and vocational education and training or TVET graduates are finding it difficult in getting relevant jobs. This is one of the highlights of the TVET Tracer Survey report the Labour Ministry released recently. Against this, the report suggested the need to do more in improving the link between the TVET sector and the labour market.
The report collected data from more than 2,100 TVET graduates of 2013 till 2018. More than half the number found it difficult to get relevant jobs. In between 2013 and 2015, around 60% of the total graduates expressed difficulty in finding a job, while from 2016 to 2018, the figure stood at 58%. At the same time, some 37% of the graduates found it easy to get a job. The rest did not look for any employment opportunity.
Those people who graduated from different technical institutes after training don't know whether they are really looking for the kind of a job that they are trained for, or whether they are looking for different jobs. So that seems to be the one major issue.
From the 9 TVET institutes in the country, more number of graduates from Samthang Technical Training Institute reported easy to get relevant jobs. As per the report, this is because The institute offers heavy vehicle and earth-moving courses that are in high demand. Similarly, more graduates with construction qualifications reported of facing little difficulty in getting relevant jobs compared to other graduates.
Shortage of skilled manpower on the one hand, and then on the other hand, our graduates saying that it's difficult to get the relevant jobs in the labor market. So what I felt from looking at the data is that the major problem lies in the labor market side, and we need to really think about that. And when we say Tibet reform, we should look at both the supply side as well as demand side.
As per the report, other suggestions to address the employability of Tibet graduates include making jobs attractive and motivating, and boosting employers' willingness to employ the graduates, even if it means doing so against the cheap imported labor. At the same time, Labour Ministry officials highlighted the need to change the mindset of both the employers and the employees involved in the sector. The survey report also recommended the ministry and relevant stakeholders to emphasize on prioritizing the promotion of demand-driven courses. Sringzam, BBS News.
Local governments will pursue the Agriculture Economy Contingency Plan. According to the ECB document released earlier this month, local governments will get a total budgetary grant of 200 million Newton on top of the 12th five-year plan allocation. The Agriculture Contingency Plan aims to boost agriculture and livestock production by providing a range of support measures, such as technical assistance and additional support for marketing, value addition, and providing year-round connectivity and road access.
The contingency plan prioritizes commodity production based on national priority, the volume of imports, and production potential. The prioritized commodities are cereals, vegetables, mustard oil seed, lentils, fish, milk, and meat. Rice is, however, excluded from the prioritized list, mainly to diversify the Bhutanese diet, which is predominantly rice-based. In terms of vegetable production, the contingency plan will prioritize winter vegetable production to reduce imports and meet the demand for the northern Dzongkhaks, where winter vegetable production is not feasible. As per the Bhutan Trade Statistics 2019, from nearly 15,400 metric tons in vegetable imports last year, more than 7,400 metric tons were imported during the months of August to February. In light of this, the local governments of Chukha, Dagana, Pemagasal, Samdukjonkar, Samtsi, Sarpang and Sirang, where winter vegetable production is feasible, will allocate half of their agriculture ECP resources, amounting to 40 million Newton for winter vegetable production. Meanwhile, the 200 million Newton budgetary grant will be shared among local governments based on production capacity, households engaged in agriculture, and constraints faced by households. Besides, each local government will lay out independent marketing plans for their products, including marketing within Dzongkhaks, connecting products to institutions like schools, hospitals, and processing plant, and marketing beyond Dzongkhaks in case of surplus. Farmers groups, displaced employees, youth groups and cooperatives among others will receive the priority to produce the commodities. The Farm Machinery Corporation Limited will carry out the production of prioritized commodities at a commercial scale and also work with farmers through a contract farming modality which involves agriculture production carried out on the agreement between the buyer and farm producers. Similarly, the Bhutan Livestock Development Corporation Limited will operate at a commercial scale through contract farming system with youth groups, cooperatives and farmers to produce milk, chicken, pork and fish. This will ensure a reliable supply of prioritized commodities, including meat, which is in high demand. At 13.5 kilograms per person, the per capita consumption of meat in the country is the highest in South Asia. As per the Bhutan Trade Statistics, in 2018 alone, Bhutan imported 4.6 billion Newton worth of meat an increase of 16% from the previous year. Sunampem for BBS News.
The country is in need of hospitality and entertainment guidelines specifying the principles, scope and purpose of such expenditure. In its absence, the Annual Audit Report 2019 reveals of various inconsistent practices adopted in the use of the budget.
As per the report, the purpose of hospitality and entertainment expense ranges to a wide extent, because of which there is difficulty in ascertaining the admissibility of certain expenditures. There is a risk of indiscriminate use and misappropriation of government funds. In between 2016 and 2018, around 14.5 million yutum remained as unjustified expenses from the hospitality and entertainment budget of the ministries and cabinet secretariat.
During the past government time, because we never thought that Anzumbe issue because when we go on auditing other agencies, when there is such rampant yubda, then only we impact based on our risk assessment. So at that point of time, risks may not have been that severe. Now the government will come and go. The future Anzum guideline, if there is no such guideline, then there would be severe government exchequer, severe financial burden.
The ministries incurred unjustified expenses on Sera, Nyenda, Khadar, Semso, Sokchang and donations among others, which are discretionary.
Major observation we found was, which was from our opinion, was not to be booked under hospitality and entertainment expenses. The chagips, then nyendas, then the expenses for the purchase of khadars, then serra or tips to the people who have come to see them, and since these natures of expenditure, we thought that it should be booked under discretionary grant, which are provided specifically by the government to those post holders.
Having a guideline will provide appropriate control over such expenses.
There is no proper uniformity in the spending. There are varying amounts spent by different agencies. When our ministers visit constituency, zongkaks, any offices, and when they host official guests from outside and within Anzumbe, so varying expenditure. So had there been proper guideline, it will definitely channel properly, and then accounting purpose, booking, so control based on.
Against such, the Deputy Auditor General shared the Finance Ministry has drafted a hospitality and entertainment guidelines, which is in the Cabinet for deliberation. Sunampem for BBS News.
As planned, if the livestock insurance scheme comes into effect, it will cover 60% of the loss against livestock lost to wild animals. However, farmers will have to pay a certain annual premium and insure their cattle. According to the Department of Forest and Park Services, the draft scheme is with the Cabinet.
For now, there is no compensation scheme for farmers who lose their domestic animals, especially cattle, to wild animals. However, yesterday, celebrating the World Tigers Day in Tongsa, the Forestry Department provided SEMSO to some 138 households that lost cattle to tigers this year. The affected farmers were paid 2,000 yutam each for ordinary breed and 5,000 yutam for a jersey. In Tongsa alone, tigers killed 177 cattle in the last 7 months. According to the Director of the Department of Forests and Park Services, a long-term, holistic and innovative solution to human-wildlife conflict is critical to ensuring safety of the communities and their assets, as well as wildlife and the habitats. He said the earlier endowment fund to pay compensation was not sustainable.
때 년초 배고베 세준이라 때 자사자 자산 배워진 뚜루 니저레 땡아치라 유커기 인으로 배워진 직장합주를 년초 배고베 세준이라 나 두딱이 톱람디에 저시 바치 세다 바친 때다 바타 니장합주 년초 배미기 가둘래 때 두다 동타 짱아 톱님에 딜렌 자사자 자산 배워진 동타 추삼 톱님에 유커기 농디스 배워진 동타 딘 톱님에 세준이라.
Against the increasing menace of human-tiger conflict in Tongsa, locals welcomed the idea of insuring their cattle.
마치라기 디날로 체스 망길 때다 노기들 주바친 마치로 비디 톱스미디 디에 슝기 탑람 레짐지 베스 아니비슈니나
진다게 네바데 케오메 데케라 로치나데 아데 수수페라 수게라 녜렌치 세슈로라
대랑이 참나 유미게 사디스에 유일의 아치치 타린 사베미디스 다자 좀 찔레 베디베스 찌르 다니 코라기 지나라 세노말 안디스 베워진 단연카두 안디스 베고니메 세미기 대유
Tasibji Gup added, from his Geok alone, close to 60 households have already come forward to register for the insurance scheme, although its premium is yet to be finalized. For Pasa in Tongsa, Sunampem for BBS News.
Marking the Global Tiger Day on 29th July, WWF Bhutan announced the sighting of 6 new Royal Bengal tigers in Bhutan this year. A tiger each was sighted in Jomozangka Wildlife Sanctuary and Phipsu Wildlife Sanctuary, and 4 from Sarpang Forest Division. With the latest increase in their population, Bhutan expects to contribute to the 12 years global commitment of doubling tigers' population by 2022.
These are few pictures of new sightings in Phipsu Wildlife Sanctuary and Sarpang Forest Division. The last National Tiger Survey in 2015 estimated 103 tigers in the country. WWF assumes the number could be much more. It can be ascertained only after another nationwide survey early next year.
Looking at the trend and the data we have at the moment, it looks like Bhutan is already on the road towards achieving our commitment to the St. Petersburg Declaration in 2010. Because from the last survey, we have estimated of 103 wild tigers in Bhutan, and looking at the side data that we have at the moment, it clearly indicates that we are on the road towards achieving that goals. But even if we not achieve the goals, we are almost there to increase by 20% of the wild tigers in Bhutan.
But protecting it is becoming challenging. Recently, livestock predation has become rampant in places like Tongsa. Religious sentiments and legal enforcement have kept people away from retaliatory killing. But with an increase in the number of incidences, people are rapidly losing their social tolerance. Feared and revered, this big cat is also facing threats from poachers.
And coming down to our concept here in Bhutan, the major threat that we see in our country is, one is definitely, as I said before, it's poaching, and other one is the habitat fragmentation and the human-tiger conflict, and with the emerging threats on the disease. So we also see a few cases reported a few years back on zoonotic disease. So these are the factors that we need to take care of in protecting that species.
But for now, new tiger sightings raise conservation hopes. Samton Dolkar, BBS News.
A crop insurance group which was formed to address the long-standing issue of human-wildlife conflict for farmers of Norbugang, Rinchen-Zorchiok and Pemagasel is proving effective. Since the formation of the group, not a single farmer had to bear the total loss of crops lost to wild animal damages.
Norbugang, Rinchen-Zorchiok is situated close to the Royal Manas National Park. Looking into a win-win situation for both wild animals and the farmers in the vicinity, the Park Range Office formed the crop insurance group and provided the seed money for the group.
We are given cash by the park office to form a group in 2011. The office provided us with 500,000 Newton. It has been beneficial for us and we are hoping we will continue to get support. We compensate around 50% of the amount to the farmers because the fund will not be enough for even 5 households if we compensate total loss.
The park office supported the formation of the group on a trial basis. Initially, they provided us with 100,000 ngitam. We increased the fund by collecting 200 ngitam from each household. After 3 years, the park office gave us an additional 400,000 ngitam. Therefore, today we have more than 450,000 ngitam as fund.
The group assesses the extent of damages on maize crops and compensates accordingly. Each household is compensated for half the amount of the total damage. For a kilogram of maize, the farmers get 5 ngitam as compensation.
We also discussed increasing the compensation amount. We are also advising farmers not to be careless and leave fields without fencing, thinking there is compensation. We ask them to cut their crops and make proper fencings.
We also let the members borrow money from the fund on a certain amount of interest rate. This is to make it sustainable.
Chairperson of the group said, although they have enough fund for now, the group is not certain about its sustainability if the amount of compensation is increased. Today, there are 54 members in the group and each of them claims compensation only for maize, which is the main cash crop. For Teledoji in Pemakatsel, Pupkim for BBS News.
And that's all for this week's edition of the News Magazine program. Until next time, I'm Cheku, signing off.